My name is Niall Colwell. I'm a cardiologist and physician, and I work in South Tipperary General Hospital, which is a catchment area of South Tipperary, a bit of West Waterford, and possibly North Tipperary as well.
What then would be the specific areas you think the Irish pharmaceutical companies could improve on and perhaps make your role that bit easier or your relationship with them that bit better?
Well, I think they're doing a good job. I think it's hard for them to improve more. Some of my colleagues do not meet representatives of the pharmaceutical industry, and it depends, I suppose, on your area of training and where you were brought up. There's definite evidence in the medical literature that if you interact with the pharmaceutical company, there's a gravitas towards their products rather than others. However, the majority of products now available on the market are good and were spoiled for choice. So I see that as less of a problem than hitherto. And I think I've more to learn from new products coming on the market and what's happening in the pharmaceutical industry in general by meeting representatives of the pharmaceutical industry than shunning them. I think it's a short-term gain for long-term loss by ignoring the pharmaceutical industry.
And are there any pharmaceutical companies or reps that are doing something a little bit different, or are there any that are using particular techniques or tactics that will catch your interest or catch your eye or your secretary or assistant to make sure that it comes before you maybe quicker than the way other companies are
I suppose we're entering more into the digital era, so I think if you can get things in digital record and just put on your computer rather than having tomes of paperwork, that's probably a way to go forward. I think companies have been very good at sponsoring websites, sponsoring access to journals that are on the web and on the net, and I think that's a way forward too. And I'd see that as being more beneficial than, you know, a meal out or whatever.
Well, on that point, Niall, in the kind of era of mobile media and everything, if pharmaceutical companies could provide you, say, with online links or downloads for you to be able to watch in your own time, even to listen to in the car on the way home, would you think that
I think that would be very helpful, because we're getting more and more stretched time-wise. I think we were a generation ago in the era of one person working and another staying at home and a nice jolly life, and now it's everybody's pulled which way, and parents are getting elderly, and there's lots of people pulling on your strings, as it were, and anything that can facilitate education by whatever means is good.
But in terms of pharmaceutical companies, I suppose, providing support networks online and for people who maybe have gone through particular surgical procedures, giving their own experience, is that something that, you know, can be exploited and can be provided, in your opinion?
If done well, yes. However, there are caveats and landmines in such an approach, and I think anecdote may not represent the whole panoply of a condition. So if you have a favourable patient, one might argue that their view of life was so favourable as to not be representative. Additionally, if you go on the internet or blog things, you'll find certain drugs are being absolutely lambasted when they're actually, in general, favourable drugs because people have had certain side effects. So anecdote may play in your favour, but may play against one in an argument to try and educate patients. And that tool would have to be used very carefully and judiciously, but if done so, would certainly be of benefit to patients.